What's the motherfucking deal? Welcome, my friends, to the Den. I hope everybody's doing well. If you're not familiar with the Den is a conversation. We like to share our opinions on censored, whether you agree or disagree with the topic at hand. You know, your thoughts are always welcome. We're just trying to get a better understanding of each other. So we're going to see we have joined us in the Den tonight. And tonight we're going to be talking about Theybies, a new trend in parenting. I'm going to get your opinions on it. Charlene, fantastic, man. Good to see you. Yeah, just in your comments, talking about the one from last night, but you had some very good points, man. So I'm glad to see you. I hope all is well. But we're going to talk about some interesting stuff tonight. Like I said, we're going to talk about some Theybies. We're going to talk about what that kind of means and, you know, what is that saying about the world that we live in today. First, before we get that going, let me go ahead and make sure we share these. I forget to share these from time to time. So if you want to follow the Den on any of the other platforms, Facebook group, we have some interesting discussions sometimes where we talk a bunch of shit and post a bunch of crazy ass memes. But we're going to discuss it and we're going to get into it. Welcome, Jamal. So Theybies. What are Theybies? What are those? Theybies is kind of this new trend in parenting, gender neutral parenting. Some people think it's cool. Some people say, hey, you know, we're going to let the kids grow up without any of these gender stereotypes being applied to them. You know, blue is for boys, pink is for girls. Boys play with fire trucks, girls play with dolls and stuffed animals and kitchen sets, and boys play with action figures. And we're going to let them do what they want to do. We're going to let them grow up in a world uninfluenced by gender biases, I guess, if you will. And I can understand the premise of that. I can understand what they're attempting to accomplish by doing such a thing. But do I necessarily agree? Well, we'll discuss that and a little bit more. But with the Theybies, I find certain things peculiar. I find certain things odd. because ultimately there's going to come a day where I think they go into a shock, if you will, because they're going to realize, hey, I'm just like everybody else, but I've been withheld. Like, to me, it would almost make them want to look awkwardly at their parents. But again, once they've probably been so indoctrinated in that belief, who knows what will happen. Kenneth says, is it true that men don't share their feelings? Possibly. I think it's the stereotype that men don't, but I think it's, you got you got this new modern man. And I think that in certain circles, I think that there may be, I can't speak for everybody, but like me personally, if I have an issue or something that I want to discuss it, normally I really don't share my feelings too much. So, you know what I mean? If I have something I want to talk about, I have like maybe one person that I really truly discuss things with. But as far as I don't think men are expected to. That could be part of that whole gender bias or whatever it may be. It could be, maybe feeling vulnerable. It could be just, hey, I don't want anybody in my fucking business. I don't really be giving a shit about too many other folks' business. So I don't be wanting nobody in my business too much. I'm just the type of person who feels like, though, I can usually fix my own problems. I'd rather confide in a book and find the solution to my problem than ask too many people. But again, so what I feel with the Theybies, I feel like it's an awkward situation. 2 days early on accident. That ain't no accident. But I feel like it's an awkward situation because if you're racist, say what's up to you. What's up? Howdy. I am a racist. We're all a little racist, so there's nothing wrong with that. But again, like I said, with the Theybies, man, and I feel like it comes to a point where it's all fun and games when you have them in the house and when you kind of can control the environment in which they're in. But eventually, I think that what happens is you're going to get into a situation where they encounter other children. You must be going to plan on homeschooling them or something of that nature. And I think that makes it even worse because they become more and more indoctrinated. Now, if you're picking certain shows and only showing them certain things, you have to open the rest of the world out, open up the rest of the world to these children so that they can have a full understanding. You say, well, we're going to let them pick when they're older. Well, you got to give them the options, because what you're doing by making it neutral, by calling them they and this, that, and to me, I feel like there's the lack of a formation of an identity, because there have been plenty of people who have raised children, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I agree. I mean, there are people, you raise your girl as a daughter, and that hasn't stopped her from shaving her head and wearing pants 3 sizes too big and, taking all the polo shirts. I don't know if y'all ever seen that shit. It was some shit a while back. All the goddamn studs taking all the 2X polo shirts. Y'all catch another motherfucking stud buying the last 2X polo shirt, I'm going to beat them motherfucking ass. But that ain't never stopped them. So my thing is, if it's in them, if it is truly a thing that is not, that is a birth thing, then I have a feeling like, then it's going to happen no matter what. It has nothing to do with the way you raise them. If you raise them in a gender neutral environment, they're going to feel however they feel. And then it's not going to make it any less awkward when dealing with the rest of society. I think it actually, again, like I say, makes them more confused. So they're going to grade, especially when kids are young and they don't understand, they feel like everybody is raised the same way they are. So if you ever send them to a public school or they have some type of a public education, then I think they get put in a hostile environment. And then what? Then you're asking the school, well, they need to accommodate my child, even though your child is probably the 0.5%. Now the rest of the school has to adjust to, your request. Everybody else has to be inconvenienced because of your singular request. And I agree, some people shouldn't have kids. And like I said, I watched a couple of little stories on it, and again, from whatever perspective, I try to be rational about things. I try to look at every angle of things as much as I can, as much as I can tolerate. And some people say, well, hey, Honcho, you dress weird. A person from Africa, and I went to Africa wearing what I normally would say, hey, well, you're weird, you're out of place. But I think when you look at people here in America, and America is a very diverse country, these people who are in belief of a lot of these new aged principles, they're always weird, even by the American standard. And so what I mean by that, they're either awkward looking, they do some extra weird stuff, they always have the overly colored hair, or they just have a bunch of piercing, or it's just weirdness. And to me, what I feel like a lot of it has to do with these people not getting some particular level of attention that they were seeking. And so they start deviating from what many of us consider the norm. Or maybe they did feel awkward inside, or maybe they weren't the most attractive. And so they operated in a different way. And then they kind of wanted everybody else to operate in the same fashion that they did, because it normalized them and their behavior. They felt like it was all good. Excuse me. But, maybe it wasn't quite so for other people. And again, it's always, a couple of folks that want to upset the masses. And again, like I say, you're free to feel and dress and do whatever you want to. Again, I'm not here to judge anybody for their choices or how they look, or, because again, there's a lot of different standards in which everybody could judge everybody on. But there's always a certain level of, or a certain amount of something that stands out about these people. So there was one in particular that I was watching, and the dude seemed pretty feminine, or effeminate, if you will. The mom didn't wear makeup or anything like that, and there's nothing wrong with that, because I'm not big on makeup. I don't care for it. But let's be honest, without the makeup, she looked boyish. And again, if you're gender neutral, I guess it doesn't matter. I guess old buddy's cool with that, because he seemed a little suspect either way. So maybe that's what he likes. Maybe that's what they're into. And he found something that looked along the lines of what he really wanted, but he could stay tiptoeing the line. I don't know. But again, like I say, it's always that weird stuff. And the little boy was, clipping, what are those shits called, barrettes and shit into his hair. And I'm not saying that's too weird, because shit, you had a bunch of niggas in Cali back in the 90s. They was chewing on pacifiers and fucking wearing barrettes and Shirley locks and all that other shit. So let's not act like, some of this stuff doesn't cross over. But I'm talking about at an age where you're still learning about the world. You're still trying to figure things out. And, you're put in an environment that to me is not most ideal for your growth as a child. I mean, it limits your understanding of how the world really works. And again, this is to me mainly like a first world thing. Other countries are not dealing with these kind of issues. They're not entertaining these kind of issues because, they're worried about survival. It's only when you have those first world problems where, you're worried about trivial shit that really isn't a major issue. Maybe it's a major issue to some people, but for the most part, it's not something that affects the majority of the population. But you have a small amount of people who want to upset, the status quo because they felt awkward. So it is what it is, But my thoughts on this, now to not be so neutral about the gender neutral conversation. I think it's weird. I think it's awkward. What do you need, Kenneth? I need a topic speaker for your English 2 class, and go fucking do some research, nigga. God damn it. Shit, go fucking you. When is this assignment due? You been knowing about this shit. Don't come in the den like for help with your goddamn homework, nigga. Where my desk at? Where my chair at? Then we'll talk about that shit. Yeah. Whenever Kenneth call, you hear some strange clapping noises in the background. But honestly, do Monday. You got plenty of time. You got plenty of time to get your paper done. What's up, Mello? What's the motherfucking deal? We're talking about Theybies. We're talking about the gender neutral situation, and just kind of going in on some things that I saw, and just about the people that I came across. Reading articles, and mainly because I watched like one video on it. But I was just saying, these people are always awkward. They're always like, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the term daycare generation. And, some of y'all are younger, so some of y'all might be a part of that. If you ever sent to daycare, it's a lot of children and only a couple of caregivers. And so what children in the daycare generation learn is, well, hey, the man or not the man, but the baby who makes the most noise gets the most attention. And so when you got 5, 10, maybe 20 kids, and the other kids are they're not getting the attention they want, they're used to getting at home, because it's just them, or maybe them and another sibling or something like that. And they see, well, shit, the squeaky wheel is getting the grease. So they start doing more outrageous things to get attention. And so when that happens, it's a habit that's developed at a young age. So they start continuing to do that. And so as they go through life, they start doing more and more things to get attention instead of earning attention. And so instead of saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to do something that's, quality, or I'm going to do something that worthwhile, to be, what's the word? Not celebrated for, but to be appreciated for. I'm just going to make a bunch of noise. I'm going to yell and scream because the world ain't going my way. That's why you see a lot of this stuff with the SJWs. It's not about having a conversation. It's not about wanting to entertain and have a debate. It's their way or the highway. They start screaming and crying whenever stuff don't go their way. They start acting like they're attacked or they're being assaulted or all these things. And they blow a lot of stuff out of proportion. You know what I mean? And so the thing about that is you have to understand that when you're dealing with these kind of people, you almost got to be careful and kind of protect yourself, because these people will take some shit and really run with it. These are the people are the ones, who you brush by. Are you assaulting me? Are you trying to do this? They'll take a small thing and blow it out of proportion just to generate more attention. Anything. Give me 10 minutes. I'm going to open up the line in 10 minutes here. And so like I say, it's crazy. Like I say, it's outrageous because you see it happening all over the place. It's not just one or two isolated incidents. And then you have a lot of this happening in these college campuses, and a lot of this stuff, they're teaching these weird ideals. My thing is this, man. Competition is necessary. There is no equality. I talk about, everybody's born equal. But the moment after you're born, you either have some leverage because your parents are well off, they got you in a good situation, or whatever it may be. But after you're born, it's a wrap. That's when the levels start changing. So you're either in a good situation that you're born into this world, and you either got parents that care about you, and they may not have all the money in the world, but hey, they're making sure you get the best that they can afford for you. They're reading to you, they're educating you, they're making sure you develop properly, because you can have a lot of money and motherfuckers be caught up in their money and leaving you with sitters and all this other stuff, so you don't ever get that real connection. So it's not always about the level of money that they have, but being properly nourished and sustained, all these things are important. But it tends to have a small correlation with it, when you have opportunity to have access to better things. And you grow up nurtured, knowledgeable, and able to progress, as opposed to kind of having to fight for everything, kind of having to figure everything out on your own, and coming from behind the 8 ball, starting late in the race, if you will. And so that is a factor. That's where the equality ends. As soon as you're born, equality is over. Some people get a little bit of leverage, but the thing about it is once you have some sense about yourself, once you have some knowledge, once you have some understanding, you can do anything. You know, it doesn't matter if you don't have all the skills right this very moment. That's the amazing thing about the internet. That's the amazing thing about the library. That's the amazing thing about being in America. People can sit here and talk shit about all you want to, but you have access to things here that you don't have, or you don't have the same level of access to anywhere else. The internet, you can find anything you want to find. You can find any information you want to find. You can learn about anything you want to learn. There's always somebody teaching something valid if you want to learn it. It could be another language. It could be about how to start your own business. It could be about money management. It could be about just anything. You know, the internet has made more millionaires, you know, now in these last few years than, you know, maybe at any other time in the world. And so they don't give a fuck about your final exam. And so people have to understand that you have to take advantage of that type of stuff. But instead, the majority of people, and this is where you got to start getting your leverage. This is something that I've been working on myself a lot lately. They're using social media for bullshit. You know, I'm gonna watch fight videos on YouTube. I can think about it. That's what I used to always think I fucking used to do, pull up on YouTube. Oh, I'm gonna watch some fight videos, watch some old ghetto shit. And then once I started thinking differently, I started utilizing YouTube differently. And I say, there's a saying that I've had for years now: a nugget of knowledge will get you further than college. It only takes one thing. Excuse me. And I talk about, you know, some of the shit I went through, you know, some of the hard times that I've had to bounce back from, you know, and I look at certain things because I was on the right track during those times, and just shit, you know, just got yanked from under me. And that's why I'm kind of on the mind state of not being able to rely on too much, even if it's, you know, employment or whatever it is. Because one, you know, I made some mistakes, and so I got a couple of little blemishes on the background. And then two, because even when my shit was clean, A1, I used to bust my ass, be the first person on site, handle all the work, doing my boss's job, doing his boss's jobs, you know, work 24-hour shifts, fucking, you know, always put out the best numbers every day, things like that, and still get let go because I didn't kiss ass. You know, that changed my way of thinking, and that's why I'm just a person who I have to do it my way. Because if I do it your way, I do it their way, I still lose. And so that's why I don't really subscribe to that belief. But there's things that I've learned, man, and had I known one detail, you know what I'm saying? Like one detail of how something worked, or would have followed through on a single action, and I look back at it now, that my life I may not have gone down certain roads. Certain things may not have happened that took place back then. It could be on a whole nother, I mean, a single detail that I learned from just little bullshit on the internet. But it is what it is. You know, apply those things now. You can't look back in the past and cry about it. You apply it and then you move on. Yeah, I used to watch World Star Comps and all that bullshit. I used to fucking watch World Star. Like I can't tell you the last time I've been on fucking World Star. I hate that shit. That shit is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't fucking, all that shit. I could tell y'all something about those World Star twerk vids. I'm gonna save that story one day. I knew a chick who had several million views on one of them twerk vids, but I ain't gonna get into all that. We just gonna leave that at that. Now, I'll tell y'all about it. I'm sure it's probably still up. I don't know. I ain't been on World Star in a long ass time. But Jay Dizzle, what's the motherfucking deal? Look, she blew up. Man, I mean, y'all would be surprised, man. Like honestly, it's a motherfucker. I ain't gonna say no names. It's a motherfucker here in Houston. She didn't change the game up though, so I'm super proud of her. But trust me, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of y'all niggas was following her. Homegirl from way back in the day. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like I could tell y'all some stories, but I'm like I say, it's certain things we talk about, certain things we don't talk about, and certain stuff is just mixer conversation. But what's the motherfucking deal, Baker man? And I did. Man, let me tell you, I'll give it to you while I was laughing at the chat, man. Jay Dizzle a fool. He sent a picture in the thing and say, why Wink look like an angry bird, and send a picture of the red angry bird from the soft stream. That's why I was laughing my ass off. You know what I'm saying? So that shit was funny. It caught me off guard. It was pretty fucking funny. Never do my boy like that. But my thing is though, my thing is this though. But what I'm saying here is getting kind of back to the Theybies and that whole situation. You know how the DN is. Sometimes you go off on a tangent. You ain't gonna be able, I don't know. It was kind of early on. I was just laughing. So I mean, it was some funny stuff going on. I couldn't give you a timestamp, but just looking at the Theybies situation, man. And this is why I say I feel like it causes more problems than it helps. A Theybie is basically a child who's raised in a gender neutral situation. The parents don't want to assign it at birth as a boy or a girl. And they just let it live how it wants to live. And eventually they say, he'll get to, or it'll get to choose. So they don't even use male or female pronouns. They always use they, I guess, or I wonder if they use it. They, zir, whatever. Like I said, I've been watching shit and it's crazy. But like I said, it's always odd people, and again, I was talking about the daycare generation and talking about how, it's all about the person who the squeaky wheel gets the grease. When a daycare, you only have so many kids. You have so many kids, but only so many caregivers. And kids start realizing the kids that cry out for the most attention receive the most attention. And so that's why you have this generation that you have now about people who make big deals out of nothing. But now, what bothers me though is that if you'd have told me this shit, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I don't give a fuck. There's some stupid shit. But now, because you have hospitals who are acknowledging this goofy shit, and now you have the option of boy, girl, or X. So what I wonder is if you never assign this kid a gender, right? Then as it grows up, what happens if this kid's a troublemaker, and the kid ends up, getting a license, and say it's a female, which it is. The motherfucker gonna grow tits, even though it's gonna get all the tape and sports bras it can. But, that's a whole nother story. And it grows up a female, but it decides that I'm gender neutral. I feel like I'm a man, or I'm gonna put male down on my that's the crazy shit too, because now they letting motherfuckers up. I seen something about that's what I say, the internet will take you down a rabbit hole. I seen something about a trans person fucking going back and switching their fucking shit. So it would start off as a man, and they went back and changed their fucking information, and now it says woman. And so now you like, what are you born as? They gonna bring you this bullshit ass birth certificate. You stuck, motherfucker. Like, it's a wild world we living in. You better find you one and chill. But so like I said, what if it's a female? Then goes and gets a license, identifies as male, ends up in jail or prison or something. What do? They put in a female prison. They put in a male prison. Well, it identifies as male. You put in a male prison. Now this motherfucker getting anyway. That's a whole nother situation. So what I'm saying is that you say the thing is, and that's what I'm saying. My thing is this, and this is where we start kind of getting into it, is eventually, because especially with all the hormones and the food and all this shit, motherfuckers gonna start hitting puberty about somewhere between the ages of 9 and 10, 11-ish, maybe you late 12, 13 or whatever. But has to be female to get clapped. That's what I'm saying. You're going to end up, oh, this man is pregnant. But that's where all the confusing shit is going to happen. Because I remember seeing some shit about that, and we'll talk about that in a minute too. Because one of the stories I saw in the Theybies, it had to be the most awkward ass looking relationship. It looked like a chick who became a dude, and a dude who became a chick. One was black, one was white, interracial baby. But the only thing that I could get out that whole fucking story was the chick who became the man. This motherfucker had a big fucking narwhal head. Like, this motherfucker, like, I'm like, yeah, you probably pretty rough as a female. You probably wasn't getting no action. But my thing is, it almost seems ass backwards. Like, when you, this goes for it was an MMA match with this woman. Yeah, and they allow that shit. That motherfucker should be in jail. Well, something Fox. I keep wanting to say Farrah Fox, but I think Farrah Fox is like a porn star. Something Fox, but I know exactly what you're talking about, Shaolin. And somebody had brought that up because I think it was some shit I was looking at the other day on Twitter, and that's what actually brought the Theybies thing up. And they had reposted that article, and the motherfucker cracked her skull, like. And there's nobody second guessed the thing. Nobody thought nothing of it. Like, this is okay. This is happening. You know, you damn near beat the motherfucker to retardation and fucking, it's okay. Like, it's craziness. Like I said, that's what I'm saying. And we talked yesterday about the football shit where the coach basically got fired because he didn't want to watch a fucking little girl who thought she was a little boy fucking change in the fucking dressing room. But again, like I say, but you have these people who sit here and tell you, well, I want to identify as this, or I feel like I should be treated as this. I'm going to be honest with you, man. If you pop out with some fucking titties and you talking about you a man, I'm finna say, we're going to have a problem. You know what I mean? We're going to have a problem. Like, these kids, eventually, when they start dealing with puberty and all these other things, when the girl starts feeling weird and emotional once a month and start bleeding and all this, and the fucking boy that you both raising him gender neutral, he having a different set of issues, he getting hairy and shit. Well, I thought we were both, the same. I thought we identified as the same thing. Well, why are there different things happening? And it's awkward because you put these kids in that situation, and again, and then it's like, you're just making them more confused. And I feel like that's what people want to do, is they want to create more confusion, because then you're so busy trying to sort out the details. That's when they're fucking sliding that agenda right under you. Hey-o. But it's a crazy, crazy situation, man. Like I say, hey, to each their own, but you can't expect me to fucking abide by your. I didn't sign up for the fucking shit, so I'm not. I'm gonna call it like I see it. You know what I mean? It's just an awkward situation because kids, if they don't know any better, all right. Both of you are allowed to identify as whatever. The little girl walking down the street with her brother, they both wearing dresses and shit. This motherfucker get to school and wonder why all the other little boys looking at him weird and they doing something different. He don't fit in. Then the parent's going to be upset and trying to blame the school. Well, you're not treating my child equally. You're not doing all this other shit. And so he said, what would you do if you have gender neutral restrooms in elementary? Man, look, I'm going to tell you something. When I was at elementary, little kids was doing nonsense on the bus. I'm just going to leave it at that. So you have gender neutral restroom. There's going to be a lot of weird shit going on, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be a lot of weird shit happening in life. And it's already crazy enough, but you're going to hear a lot more crazy stories. And again, like I say, sometimes I just wonder about the shit, man. Like, you had that one, I forgot where it was, but the dude was a tranny or whatever, and he sued the school because they didn't give him access to the girls' restroom. He had his own special restroom. Basically, they gave him like a teacher staff restroom or whatever. And because he couldn't use the girl, he ended up still using suing the school. Didn't have to use the boys' restroom. Had like fuck that. I got my own private fucking restroom. Shit. I'm finna be in this bitch for a minute, Pornhub and chill. Especially if I was in school nowadays. I'm just talking shit. But I say the more confusion among the common folks, the less likely they are to look at the elite question. Yeah, man. Oh yeah, I heard Young Buck was wilding out, man. I heard, but I believe there's more of that in the music industry than motherfuckers really want to believe. Like, I believe the whole music industry, entertainment period. There's a reason why Kevin Hart eventually was like, nah, I ain't doing all that shit. Then about fucking 15, 20 minutes later, I apologize to everybody. He got that phone call from up high. Hey, Kevin, heard you didn't want to apologize. We need to have a talk, Kevin. And after that, well, that's all she wrote. You know what I'm saying? But here's the deal, man. We're gonna open up the den line. Give me just a second. I ain't have everything in order. Let me get it all together, and then we're gonna open it all up, and I want to hear y'all's thoughts. I want to know how y'all feeling about this conversation. About Theybies. Is it good? Is it bad? I mean, some of y'all, like I say, didn't know what it was. Now y'all know. Y'all have or at least a somewhat of an understanding, and I get it because I say I get it, but I kind of don't. But I understand why, but I don't think it's a valid premise. I think you need to have an identity, especially at a young age, to have better understanding. And here's the deal. Let me get this right. So can you imagine line of Me Too and gender neutral? Oh man. Oh my God. Shit. That's really what, Charlene, man, I think that's what it all started from. It all started from women's public restrooms. Cause you realize, like, you ever go to a game, why the women's restrooms always take forever? Like, them motherfuckers, you see the line, you can't go nowhere with your old lady. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
What's happening, bro? It's Mello.
Mello, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What you want to drop in the den this evening, Mello?
Alright, man. So, what I'm thinking is there's only one place for dumbass people like that, and there's a motherfucking closet, man. They need to put their ass in a motherfucker. No, okay. Why in the hell are you gonna let your kids make a decision on whether? I mean, you're not gonna sit there and identify your kid as a boy or a girl. If they got a dick in a ball, it's a fucking boy, and if it's got a goddamn pussy, it's a fucking little girl, bro. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about that. It ain't nothing that you can say about that, man. It's in this day and age, it's okay to be gay, I guess, but not for a little kid, man. Because I know damn well too many cases where little kids in elementary school, they're not bright enough to know that it's not cool either not to be. They know that it's not cool to be gay, bro. Yeah. Or they more prone to pick on somebody like that.
Yeah.
Or you know what I'm saying? And that's how you have more cases where kids grow up kind of secluding themselves from different crowds because they already got the taste of what it's like to be an outsider.
Yeah.
So you pretty much you putting your kid into a fucked up situation by not identifying them as what they are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree, man. I definitely agree.
In my case, I think they're so stupid, bro. Like to especially for them to have hospitals that go along with the dumb shit. And then on top of that, you got dumb motherfuckers. Like, I fuck with Young Thug. That's my nigga, bro. But you got motherfuckers out there wearing dresses like it's okay to do shit like that, bro. Like, come on, man. Yeah. I don't know no motherfucker wearing a dress unless you a straight up fag. So what the fuck you doing? Like, why you doing that? But that's all I got to say on that, man. I just think about some shit like that. It kind of irritates me, to be honest, bro.
Okay.
I'm gonna hang up and I'm gonna listen, bro.
All right, appreciate your call, Mello, man.
Already.
Man, and that's what I say, yeah. And that's what I mean, like, and when he mentioned that Young Thug, that motherfuckers are, for the sake of fashion or whatever, say that that's why they dressing like this. It's the drip. There ain't that much drip in the world, man. You know what I'm saying? Ain't that much sauce in the world, man. Yeah, it's a bunch of motherfuckers who fuck with that shit. What'd you say? Yeah, I was over there talking about young buck, old fuck, middle-aged buck. Yeah, man, look, shit, Hove damn near 50, he's still talking about young. It's your boy, young. No, nigga. This ain't forever young. You use the sample, but don't mean that it is what it is. But again, man, like I say, I think it is, man. Like I say, I think you have to set premises. Hey, even if you ain't trying to if you want to be on some, hey, you know what, blue isn't, designated just only for boys and pink, that's one thing. But you have to acknowledge the fact that, hey, you are male, hey, you are female, because as you get older, certain things are going to happen. People are going to treat you a particular kind of way. If you don't feel comfortable in that, address those things. You know what I'm saying? That's cool. Do what you do, man. Like, it's all good. But you have to identify, these kids have to identify as something. They have to understand, because then that's when you're going to have that shit. Like, you have a lot of these motherfuckers who are dudes and they start competing in female sports and they taking away, awards and opportunities from women. And like I say, it ain't like women's sports are the most interesting, but you can't have dudes going over here. Like I told y'all about a video a while back. And I tweeted, that shit was a super popular tweet. I ended up, deleting the tweet because I told you I set my shit to every 90 days. Because if a nigga ever do make it, I don't need that drama. But it was a dude who basically, yeah, Ray Ray was with J&J, but he come through every now and then. He came through the other day. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have called into the den this evening?
Hey, it's your boy Josh again, man.
Josh, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What you want to drop in the den tonight?
Man, about this issue, man. It's just very simple, man. If you're born with what you're born with, it is what it is. You either, boy or girl. I mean, you could try to change it, but just feel like with people like that, I just feel like they are not confident what they had inside, maybe haven't had success with, because I don't really believe no one's really born that way. I just feel like you develop that behavior over time. And it's almost like, I'm not saying it's accurate, but it's almost like the Kevin Hart situation where I don't get when females, people in general are just okay with people being gay, and they're okay with their daughter being gay, but when their son ends up being gay, it's a problem. Now it's like, okay, now, something's wrong with my son, something's wrong with that, because again, everybody knows if your son is gay and he doesn't have offspring, then your generation doesn't continue. It stops right there. So, I mean, it's just so interesting to me how people accept things if it's convenient for them, but as soon as it gets inconvenient, people have a problem. So that's what I want to say on that.
Okay, man. Good point, Josh. Man, I agree with you. That's a very valid point that he made about.
All right, man.
About people having no problems with their daughters being gay, but it's a problem with their sons being gay. I'm gonna tell you. I got an easy solution. I thought about it as I was listening to the call, man. And let me send this real quick. As I was listening to the call, I figured it out. It's quite simple. Nobody wants their kids to get penetrated. So if your daughter grow up and she get with a dude, you ain't trying to imagine your daughter getting banged out by some nigga or anybody. And so if they figure she dyking, she just in there, they just having a little carpet munching contest, and the same way vice versa. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling in the den this evening?
It's Mello again, bro.
Mello, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What you want to drop in the den?
All right, so I heard what old boy was talking about on the last call. So he was asking me why is it so convenient for when the dude's not gay. I mean, when the dude turns out to be gay and everybody frowns upon it, but not a female. Well, look, for one, honestly, I feel like a dude should be frowned upon when he's fucking gay, bro, because that's not masculine. A man is supposed to be, it's supposed to be a man. Hey, you ain't supposed to be putting your motherfucking dick in no ass, bro. You ain't. And the female, it's more more feminine for a female to feel like that for another female just because they feminine. You know what I'm saying? Okay. If you gonna feel like that for something, I mean, I feel like it's just because they're a little more feminine. Men are more masculine. So why the hell should you? Why should you feel like that for another man, bro? You know what I'm saying? You got a dick in the balls, bro. They don't go together. I'm not a big religious person, and I don't believe in Adam and Eve and all that dumb shit. But it's logic, bro.
Okay, man. I got you, man. I agree with you. I got a point I'm gonna expand on after what you said, but I appreciate your call, man.
Already.
Now there's some things I used to joke about. Probably still do joke about. Now here's my thing, though. You know, again, like I was saying before that, though, gay is gay, because I'm a person that looks at everything equally. So if you're a gay female, you're a gay female. If you're a gay dude, you're a gay dude. Again, I ain't hating on nobody for nothing. As long as you don't cross my boundaries, you do what you got to do. You got to live your life. But I don't know what he said, you know, about masculine and gays. Man, it's some motherfuckers out there, baby. Some of them prison motherfuckers look they fit every other stereotype of masculinity. You know, except for, hey, they get a little suspect in the situation. They've been in that bitch so long. I mean, I'm not saying that it's approved of. I'm not saying that, you know, it's the lick. I'm not. Well, let me change that. But you know, it is what it is. It's a lot of off the wall shit going on. But like I was saying earlier, though, about, like, I think with the gay thing is that nobody wants to think about their child getting penetrated. So nobody wants their son to be gay in that way. Nobody wants their daughter really to be straight. I think that's why motherfuckers would prefer their daughter to be gay, because they don't feel like nobody busted up. But, you know, motherfucker going buying these fucking foot-long straps and shit, walking around the club with them hoes. That shit so throw it off. But he was saying what you were saying with the feminine thing, but a lot of these motherfucking we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way. I go up to a motherfucker and let them, hey, I likes you. But ultimately, man, you know, the thing about it is, like I say, it's like, what's up with the stuff? Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, again, because niggas would be much more cool with a stud, you know, than a motherfucking a gay dude. But it's all, like I say, to me, it's all awkward. You know what I mean? You say, if you don't have facial hair, pretty well, that's unfortunate. Look, hey, no. What's the motherfucking deal? We got called in on the deal this evening.
Hey, what's up, Honcho? This is Ernest, man.
Ernest, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What you want to drop in the deal tonight?
Yeah, man, a couple things real quick. Just to expound upon what I think that Mello called in. Like, he talks about logic. All right, so I'm expound upon that.
All right.
Because when I think about, we all got some gay people in our family, no matter who you is, bro. You know them. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But this what don't fly with me, bro. All right, when you think about, all right, we talked about it take a male and a female to procreate, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the purpose of life in itself, to procreate.
Yeah. Now,
when you talk about two males, bro, like somebody getting penetrated, you feel me? And when you look at, I don't know how to put it, bro, but it's like this here. You getting penetrated in the wrong spot. That spot there ain't designed for nothing to go inside. It's designed for bodily waste to come out. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at, like, you know, the whole, why we don't really look down on females and female, it is a double standard. And I remember coming up in the 90s, and you hear rappers say, like, I'm trying to find me a menage a trois.
Yeah.
So
Podina.
what we saying is, huh?
I say big Podina.
Already, you see what I'm saying? So it is a double standard in that regard. But at the same time, bro, it's just like this. What I want to ask you, because this is something I think about when we talk about logic. Like I've never seen, like I've seen this male. You know how dogs like sniff another dog to see if it's a female.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen this dog sniff a male dog. Man, that male dog turned around and almost ate him up, bro. Because he like, man, you better move around with all that.
Yeah.
You know. And when I thought about it, bro, I've never seen a gay dog. Like two gay dogs just did it in.
No.
And so when you think about animals, bro, who don't have the intellect that we got, they have enough common sense or instinct to know that, hey, I ain't supposed to be with the same kind. I gotta go find a female. And if they got enough, common sense to know that it's animals, why don't we, bro? So that's what I got tonight, bro. I'm gonna hang up and listen now.
Already, man. I appreciate the call, man. That's again, like I said, another gem by Ernest, man. Good shit. And yeah, there is a double standard. And that kind of leads me to my next point. And then the point about the dog thing is very interesting. Now, hold on, we're going to take this call. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we have calling into the den this evening?
Yeah, brother Charlene, fantastic.
Charlene, man, what you want to drop in the den? Good to hear from you. What you want to drop in the den this evening?
Well, first of all, I want to piggyback or just challenge what the last caller said, Ernest, about animals. Mm-hmm. And if you read Darwin's Origin of Species, this is documented. There is documented homosexual behavior in animals. Now, am I defending homosexual behavior? No, I'm not. What I'm saying is there's homosexual activity been observed in almost every species. Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, you can't have reproduction, at least not now, unless we got some sort of artificial womb that I don't know nothing about. Your population will deteriorate if you continue, if a massive amount of people, participate in that sort of behavior. You just can't have that. And if you got a dick, you a dude. If you got a pussy, you a woman. Now, as far as you being gay, I don't necessarily. If you want to do that, that's fine. Like I said, I'm with you on that. It doesn't really matter to me, just as long as you ain't trying to infringe on my life.
Exactly.
But yeah, homosexual behavior has been observed in dogs, lions, insects. So it has been observed. And that just means, we all are animals. Humans are animals, they're animals, mammals. It's been observed in all of them. That behavior exists, but that behavior it's always, it's like, and this is the thing, homosexuals in this country really make up a small minority.
Yeah.
It's not really a big majority, but I do understand the reason for the discussion, because if this gets like out of hand, then how are you going to reproduce? And truth be told, there's a lot of homosexuals, especially amongst black people. A lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can go anywhere. You go to the church. I don't know why people accuse black people of being homophobic when we have one of the largest homosexuals. I mean, we just see people walk down the street. Oh man, yeah, oh boy, yeah, you get, ain't no big deal to us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? As long as they don't bother us. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I got a question.
That's the only point I want to make. Yeah, what you say?
I said I got a question. Do you feel what do you feel is because with blacks being a smaller percentage of the population in America, and with there being a high number, in the population of black gays, do you think that there's a cause for that? Do you think there's like a root source for that, or you just think it's just kind of how it plays out?
What do you mean, like the low number of black people in this country, and then the high number of gay people that we see? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that just goes back to, I had a discussion with a guy, and he was from Houston too, actually. Black people, we always are, and I always make this statement that, when white people catch a, cold, black people catch the bubonic plague. We always get the worst of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we always get the worst. So when you have this country trying to feminize men,
mm-hmm.
You see, feminization of white dudes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Not as bad, but black people, we just, we just balls out with it, especially when you go somewhere like Atlanta.
No.
We were super balls out you know, over the top. You know, they even have a special on TV where these, you know, dancing cheerleading dudes in Alabama somewhere. They got that, you know. So, you know, you got that kind of wild shit going on with black people. So that's why you see that, because every time something happens bad in America, we get it 10 times worse.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's just my opinion.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. I just want to know your thoughts on that one, man. I think, but you had a very valid point. I'm going to have to look into the Darwin deal. That's a very valid point. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, man, check out Darwin's Origin of Species. I read that book about 10 years ago.
Okay. And
there's a lot of different things in there that I think that black people need to read, and that you'll find, you know, very interesting.
Okay, definitely gonna check it out. Definitely gonna add that to the collection and see what it's all about. But I appreciate your call, there, Charlene, man.
All right.
Already.
All right, brother. All right.
Man, you know, he got a very good point. He ain't lying about that. Why do niggas go over the top with shit? Niggas do go over. I mean, with everything though. With everything. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
Hey, it's your boy Josh again, man.
Josh, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What you want to drop in the den tonight?
All right, man, but one last quick thing, man. I know everybody down on the city and for basketball purposes, but I put in the chat, I was like, shout out to the UH men's basketball team, man. They're like 9-0 right now. They just beat LSU just down the street, so just going to give a shout out to them, man. Already. See, I already knew UH was gonna handle it. I wasn't even worried about that. I already appreciate the call, Josh. Yeah, get it on a good note, man. Got to get it on a good note. Kenneth, you know, so I was telling y'all in the sauce, you know, why I be giving Kenneth a hard time. Y'all, if you're a den regular, I mean, you see it for yourself. There's no reason for me to explain. No reason for me to explain. Okay. We gotta. Oh, that's what I know. Okay, say. It says sex is sex. I don't get why it's so disgusting to think a girl with a girl and a dude with a dude. It's not all that different from a regular relationship. Plus, everyone wants to focus on the intimacies of that lifestyle. Ever think about how some people love each other? Some people are born different than others. Ain't no teaching to it. Sometimes some people have more estrogen, or more testosterone. It's something from birth. It's not taught. It's just not. Some of my closest friends are gay. Like, I've talked with them about it, and even before they came out, you already knew it. That's one of the scariest things. A person has to overcome accepting who they are. Their parents didn't want them to be gay and said it's okay. It's a choice. If it was a choice, why would they want to disappoint all of their loved ones? And very, very interesting, very, very interesting text. I can leave it anonymous if you want. If you want me to let you know who said that, you know, just let me know. But I mean, you have some very valid points right there, and that's something I've heard before, and that's kind of, you know. And I want to remind, like I say, Jay Dizzler made a call, you know, the other day. Okay, it was Mr. Persuasion, and Mr. Persuasion, that was a very, very valid point. And actually, Persuasion got 2 wins. Wrote 335, tried to steal some pistachios from Persuasion, couldn't do it. Ain't that a bitch? But 335 was the motherfucking deal. And that's true, man. That's very true. You know, about if it was a choice, and let's kind of just throw these things out there. You know, playing devil's advocate, or you know, coming from a factual basis. Excuse me. Why would somebody want to make that choice? And then, you know, hey, trust me, and I can agree. There are some people that you could just tell from young that they got a little bit more flamboyancy, a little bit more, you know, a little bit more what do they call it, the intangibles, if you will. And again, you know, but I think there are a lot of factors that go into a lot of things. I think that you know, chemistry plays a lot of stuff. But then, you know, you go way back into the past, you hear tales of this, that, and the third. A lot of those old artists, you think about the what is it, the Greeks and or the Romans or whoever, they was doing some wild shit, and you know, they were experimenting in new beliefs and all that other stuff. But at the same time, you know, we talk about
because you hear about, you know, what they say, and a reason why I was asking, you know, Charlotte about his thoughts on that, because, you know, they talk about the high percentage of gays in the black community, is they talk about estrogen. And you got to think, you know, look, the black women is fucking, okay? They out there fucking, you know what I'm saying? And they on the birth control, or women period are fucking, I'm just talking shit. But they're on birth control, and what happens is in lower end communities, the water supply is not as properly filtered. Estrogen, one, you can't really filter that shit out of the water. And so what it is, you have a lot of that shit flowing back through those communities, a lot of people drinking that tap water, whatever. And so one of these things that they're saying is that this is what's leading to the effeminization of a lot of black men, especially single parent households, low income, you know, single mother situation. So you got the mom doing all the raising. They've watched this motherly influence. They've gotten the feminine water. And again, these are all theories. I don't know the facts. I ain't no fucking scientist. Just another nigga on the internet. You know, I think that there are a lot of factors that you have to account for. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling in to the den this evening?
It's Edmund.
Edmund, got the finger on the trigger. How you doing this evening, Edmund?
Good. I just wanted to speak on the topic about, you know, gender identity with babies. And there was an article that said that transgenders represent about 0.3% of the American population, and that it costs an average of $16,000 to get surgery to change to a gender's preference. So I think these facts kind of reveal how small the community is, yet how powerful, you know, how much, you know, the media is paying attention to these people's rights. And I think that, you know, it's absurd that an adult can determine what a child is at such an early age. And I think, like, Austin lawmakers were proposing they were proposing something where schools would basically teach elementary kids how to, like, they would teach them about gender identity and, you know, what gender means and what would define them. And I think that's kind of scary, because we're essentially, you know, teaching these kids something that, you know, shouldn't be, that's going to affect the way they think. Like, and that's why I understand why more and more people are homeschooling their kids, because, you know, we don't know what happens, you know, in these schools now with these progressive reforms. So I think that's kind of, we're not trending in the right direction in terms of how we're handling, you know, the term gender in today's society.
Okay. And I can agree with you, because I think, like you're saying, you know, it's such a small number, honestly, for it to be such a big topic, you know, and how you say how the media manipulates it, because I think that there are certain areas that certain types of people gravitate towards. And I think that when they become heavily populated in those areas, it makes it seem like a bigger thing than it really is, you know. And so I think, you know, you have entertainment, you have, you know, areas like that where primarily entertainment and music and arts, or whatever you want to call it, tends to attract a high number of people who may be homosexual, may be trans, and maybe what's gender fluid, or whatever terms it may be. And so I think that when you have access to the cameras, when you have access to the mediums, the messages, you know, art is generally a funny area, the writings, you know, you can represent a larger portion of the population than, you know, it really may be. And so I could definitely agree with you that, one, again, you know, I don't think you should be concerning the children with sexual matters at such a young age. Now, me personally, like I say, I learned about puberty. I think it's different when you're learning about, hey, okay, look, you're a boy, you're a girl, you have this, you have that, your body will go through these changes. Okay. But as far as saying, hey, you should think like this, or you could think, I think that's a whole different conversation to be left elsewhere. And to me, that's not the conversation that the school is supposed to have. But the more and more that you implement the government in the conversation, it gets weirder and weirder, and the government don't ever get shit right. And so, like, you're talking about these lawmakers trying to please everybody, or really not trying to please everybody. You're really trying to please a minority of people to, make some other people feel more comfortable. And I'm not saying that these people shouldn't have the right to feel comfortable, but I think it's you have to find a better way to handle it. And I don't know what that is. Excuse me. I don't have the answers, but I think that's rather odd.
Yeah. But did you hear about the story where a kid, elementary kid, he had a friend who considered herself a transgender at the age of 4, and the kid actually called her a she when she wanted to be called a he, and that kid actually got suspended just because he called that girl who portrayed herself as a boy.
And
that kid just called her a she, and
that's
he got
parenting
suspended for a week.
That's parenting. All right, Power. That's parenting having influence. So a child at that age is worried about playing with My Little Ponies and toys and little foo-foo shit. At 4 years old, you know what I'm saying? They trying to get shit. Them motherfuckers ain't even on the level of Dr. Seuss books and shit yet. That's too deep for them. These motherfuckers is watching, I don't know, Teletubbies. Shit still come on. I don't know, Blue's Clues, whatever cartoons come on. I don't know. Like, it's been a long time since I've seen some cartoons. But at 4 years old, that is a child that has been infiltrated, whose mind has been programmed, whose mind has been brainwashed. And this is some shit that means that their parents are talking to them about this every day, day in and day out, because kids at that age don't give a fuck about shit like this. So that means this has to be a heavy topic of conversation in the home, and that these parents are constantly drilling in this into her head, because it's shit. If you 1 or 2, you definitely not understanding it. By the age of 3 or 4, you just kind of discovering the world. Shit, I can't even recall too many fucking memories before the age of 5 years old. You know what I mean? So the fact that you talking about a fucking kid talking about they will identify as this, they don't fucking know. And this is the shit that they don't. What kids don't even know about pronouns. But motherfuckers barely learn about pronouns in 2nd, 3rd grade and shit. Like, come on, like the motherfucker don't even know what the fuck it is, man. And that's the shit that I'm saying. Like, that's very frustrating. And that's why I say I talk to the little one now about, hey, look, this is what it is. Some people may tell you some other shit, but this ain't that, and that ain't this. You know what I mean? And look, and so people, like I say, will try to confuse so many other more important problems going on. What you want to be called is a personal deal. Just because you felt like you didn't win the role you want to be, you can't expect everybody else. Like, it's easier for you to change yourself. And I'm not saying people got to go change, but it's easier for you to learn how to accept somebody calling you what they are, because this is what people have been trained to do, as opposed to thinking the whole world's going to adjust just to accommodate you, man. Like, that shit is craziness. That shit is wild. You'll never see Scotty Kenneth.
Yeah, that's all I had to say. So.
All right. Well, appreciate your call there, man.
I bet.
But that's wild, man. That blows my mind right there. Like, little kid don't know shit about shit, and you're saying that that having these gender issues and things like that. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
Hey, Honcho, what's up? This is Ernest again, man.
Ernest, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What you want to drop in the den this evening?
Hey, chill. I want to clarify something real quick. 2 points. One is about homophobia. But before I get into that, bro, all right, when you look at, on the topic of, let's say, nature, right? Mm-hmm. Nature means natural. This is the natural state of being.
Yeah.
This is the way it is designed to be. Man is designed to be with a woman by nature. You know, so if something else happened outside of that, it happens, bro. It is what it is. But don't sell it like it's a natural thing, because we wouldn't design to be with the same sex naturally. Because if we was, then none of us would be here. If everybody was with the same sex, that's not natural. That's all I'm saying. If somebody want to do that, that's on you. But just don't sell it as being the norm, because it's not the norm. All right, on the topic of homophobic, bro, what I can't understand, when a heterosexual like me says, okay, I don't agree with this behavior, right? Because that ain't my lifestyle. All of a sudden, you get labeled as a homophobe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, how you gonna say somebody homophobic because they don't agree with that behavior? Like, I think if you out here like what black people went through back in the days, and other oppressed people throughout the world go through, where you being discriminated against for whether it's your religious belief, the color of your skin. Okay, I get that. I don't really think that, you know, if you're not being persecuted because of your sexuality, then, you know what I'm saying, you shouldn't be called like that, you know, like, to me, that'd be homophobic. If you persecute people because of their sexuality, all right, you're a homophobe, man.
Yeah. But
simply because you make a stance and say, nah, man, you know, hey, I don't agree with that. That's why I don't agree with it. But I don't have a problem with the people. They ain't never done nothing to me. But the act itself just goes, it's counterproductive, not only to my lifestyle, but also to the natural state of order. That's all I'm saying, bro. I'll hang up and listen to what you got to say. Appreciate it.
Alrighty, man. Good call, Ernest, man. So, yeah, and I agree with that, man. That's the funny thing, because, and I think it kind of has something to do with what we were talking about, that article I mentioned the other day, when it was, we were talking about the Kevin Hart thing, and the dude had that little editorial talking about, you know, you're not allowed to punch down on people. So saying that straight people can't make fun of gay people, you know, saying that skinny people can't make fun of fat people, saying that, you know, all these things. And I think that's where it comes from, because automatically, because in their minds, they feel you have some type of power over them, that you're oppressing them, you're phobic, you're assaulting them verbally or whatever it is, because you don't necessarily agree. Because here's the thing, is I cannot agree with the behavior, but it's not stopping anybody, right? If they're still doing what they're doing, and they still doing what they're doing. So it's not like I'm out here shooting niggas. I'm not like they used to do back in the Gap, when niggas be seeing them on the streets and knocking their asses out. Here's my thing with it. Honestly, with the trans thing, it's a little bit different, because, you know, they view it, I guess, more as their lifestyle and how they dress and all other stuff. But with the gay thing, honestly, who knows, excuse me, if somebody's gay unless they put that shit all out there on Front Street? You know what I'm saying? Who knows unless they put it all the way out there for everybody to be in their business. Now, now you can probably, because you know, like I said, I try to look at everything equally. Now you can probably talk about rappers or something, because, you know, they motherfuckers I be fucking hoes, I be doing this. But for the most part, you know, people ain't, unless they in a close circle of friends, you know, you're gonna talk that shit. But motherfuckers ain't just putting their sexual business out there in the street for everybody to know. And that's what you have with a lot of this stuff, is you putting your shit on Main Street, and then you get mad when mainstream don't really fuck with that shit, or it ain't what they into. And so it comes down to people wanting to be accepted. Personally, in my opinion, again, they want everything to be acceptable. And I don't think it's going to shake like that, you know. And then people get offended. Well, if you're not accepting me, then you're oppressing me. That's not the case, man. Like, you know, it's something. And let's go with, say, what White Persuade said earlier, that, you know, he asked friends, and they explain to him, hey, it's not something they wouldn't want to upset their family. They wouldn't want to do this and do that and the third. And that's not a choice they would want to make. Okay, cool. So either way, because I don't agree with it, or like Ernst said, I don't think it's natural, because there's only one way that you procreate, and that's taking the semen, the seed, and fertilizing the egg, which is carried by the woman. Men don't have no fucking eggs. You can get all the surgeries, all the other shit you want to. You'll never experience motherhood. You'll never be a woman. Okay? A woman can get all the testosterone replacement and injections and all the muscles and all that other shit. You're never going to impregnate anybody. You will get impregnated, but you're not going, you can get all that shit clean out, whatever. And so you can have all these feelings that you want to. You can have, you can do everything else to guide you along the way. But ultimately, you're not that. And again, if it ruins some people's day or whatever it may be, it is what it is. Motherfuckers want to talk about, now we're talking about women versus, or we got to say biological woman versus trained. Like, we got to throw these other fucking words and shit in there. Like, I'm not doing all that, man. I'm not doing all that. It's a woman, it's a dude, it's a tranny, vice versa, whatever it is. All right, Mr. Rabbit. Kenneth, I done told you before, like I say, whenever we do have the first either soft sports meet and greet, or if we do a den meet and greet or have Honcho, I'm telling you, just one good time, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you. Not because I don't like you, not because I want to start all together. I just need to get your mind right. So I'm gonna let you just do your thing. I'm gonna let you just run your mouth. But like I say, just one time, just to recalibrate your motherfucking ass, because your sensors are a little bit off. You know what I'm saying? So I'm letting you run your mouth and do your thing. I'm not gonna get in a tiff with you. This is gonna be one time, just one good open hand right across the fucking jawline. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. But I ain't even see look Marcus, I ain't even see your shit. See, look at you now. Look at you. Look. Don't get caught in the backdraft with Kenneth. Kenneth already be towing the line too much. He's a habitual line stepper. But again, like I say, the situation is, you talk about nature, you talk about procreation, because that's ultimately what it is. You talk about, keeping the earth sustained with the human population. There's only one way to do it. I don't know. Again, I don't know. I don't know where it originates. I don't know where it comes. Is it a chemical thing? Because I was saying before some of the calls came in, I was kind of looking back. You look at the Romans and things like that. They seem to be living pretty healthy, natural, and all that other stuff. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in the den this evening?
Brother Charlene, fantastic.
Charlene, what you want to drop in the den?
I got a little comment to make.
Okay.
I want to just ask you a question, brother. Have you ever noticed something about these behaviors? When you talk about this, because homosexuality has always been around, but I'm talking about now it's just like blatant out and open. They're trying to get everybody to force people to accept it and all this kind of. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It seems to me, when I look at when I about just studying it, and I thought about this. It seems to me that this kind of stuff goes on in richer countries, Western countries, like America, Great Britain, Australia, Canada. You don't see this kind of stuff. And I've been to third world countries. I go there all the time.
Yeah.
And you don't see this kind of stuff being promoted. You know what I'm saying? And I always wondered why. Why do you think? Me personally, I believe that just in America, just living here, we can afford to be frivolous.
Yeah.
About sexuality. We can afford to be, shallow. We can afford to be a whole lot of things. But in third world countries, they can't afford to be doing all that bullshit. And that's my theory on it. What do you think? Because to me, this is just frivolous bullshit. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I agree with you, because I think I made a comment the other day, because we had kind of ventured on this topic a little bit. All right, Baker, man, appreciate you coming through. We kind of ventured into this topic, and I was just saying, you got people here in America, and again, like you said, some of these other more richer first world countries, and compared to these other countries, some of these Middle Eastern countries and things like that, where they more worried about feeding their people, they more worried about terrorism, or they more worried about actual problems that are happening, where we're worried about imagined issues. We go out and seek issues to create, because there aren't really problems on that level. And so when you're that comfortable, when you're comfortable enough to sit here and just kind of survey everything that's going on and looking for these issues, you're going to find something. And so
did you know this? And I'll give you evidence of this. You remember back in 2008, the great financial crisis and all that stuff, right before Barack Obama got elected, you know. So back then, right before all that happened, the divorce rate was plummeting. You know, it was on a downward spiral. But when all that financial stuff started happening and, you know, people's wallets got tight, the divorce rate actually, you know, leveled off. See what I'm saying? See, you know, people respond. See, well, okay, you know, it seems like the rich and all this stuff really, you know, stems with feminism, and I got a big problem with feminism. But that's a whole nother subject. But what I'm saying is that I think that this is the, you know, major problem is feminism. But if America was able to go on a certain kind of decline, and you know, I'm talking about the average person ain't living like they was living. Feminism goes out the window at that point. That stuff is all this stuff that we're talking about, all this shit. This goes out the window. It's gonna go out the window. It's gonna be about survival, and people ain't gonna be trying to hear that bullshit. You see what I'm saying? I just think it's because of you know, America's a very rich, successful country. People want to be here. People follow the leads of Americans. You know.
Yeah, and I can agree with you on that. Like I say, once you have, like I say, you know, what's the word I'm looking? I can't remember the phrase. It's a phrase, but basically with riches in it. But once I say, yeah, once you have riches and you have these things, you have that comfort ability. Like I say, you know, it's a different feeling. You start worrying about the wrong things. And again, you know, like you mentioned, that was actually an interesting fact to me because I didn't know about the divorce rate at that time. So that's definitely something to check out. And trust me, I'm pretty sure we have some similar views on feminism because, you know, my thing is with that is, hey, I'm all about equality for everybody. But this more modern feminism is not quite, you know, the same thing as it was. All right.
Ask yourself this question about feminism. When you hear them talking about equality with jobs and all this stuff, they always talk about equality with the CEO of Microsoft, or this equality with the, you know, CEO. They never talk about equality with, you know, garbage men or, you know, equality in the service industry or equality in back-breaking work like construction.
Exactly.
Unless it's like contracting or something like that, or just an office job. They never talk about equality in that. No, where's equality in that? That's how you know that these people are not. They're not. And there you go. That goes right back into your content about gender equality, about you know, gender equality and things that women want and things that men want. There's a difference right there. Physical labor.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, that right there, I'll tell you right there, the difference there is a difference in gender.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying, you know, and I've done some contracting here and there, you know, some like labor work as far as, you know, different fields. And there's very few women, you know, now I'm starting to see a influx of women welders for some reason. But for the most part, the only thing you would see from women or around a construction site would be, not say like fire watches, you know, hole watches, something like that. Basically not the actual physical jobs. You know, you have to have a watch, you have to have safety personnel around to make sure everything is going around with the little horns or whatever. And it would be jobs like that more so than the actual physical labor, you know, not carrying nothing, not doing anything. I remember one job site I was on, there was actually a couple of chicks. One of the chicks was she was a fire watch, and her stud girlfriend or whatever was, was a laborer or something like that. And boy, look, she used to be mad because old girl used to be checking the nigga out. But I watch her as a laborer. She would never carry anything. She would never, like, she had a partner who was a little dude, and the dude was always carrying the water. He was always picking up the material. Like, she really didn't do anything. And like I say, you know, you're dressing like a man, you're acting like a man, you're doing all this stuff, but yet your partner, the dude, is doing all the actual physical stuff. You know, you just kind of hanging around, you know what I mean? So it's just like, again, though, but like you said, you know, it's always about they're looking at the very top, and that's where they want to be. They want to replace, the person sitting at the seat, the person who either built that company or the person who, put together that business or whatever it may be. They want to replace it because that's the glorious job. It just looks good. And you see so many of these people with this new modern feminism too, saying that, hey, they don't care who gets caught, as far as collateral damage. They just want to see women in better roles. And to me, it's not about that, and that's why I say I look at race, I look at sex, I look at all these. I try to look at everything equally. The best person for the position should always be there, regardless of race, sex, whatever it should be. I don't think that you put a person in a position just because they're one of these things, you know what I mean? Or because they have one of these other characteristics. Yeah. I want the best person for the situation in that spot, But that's why.
Absolutely. That's all I want to say, brother. I ain't trying to hold up too much of your time, but that's all I want to say, because I think that needs to be considered when you have a discussion like this about gender and gender roles and things like that. I think that's what they're trying to eliminate. They're trying to figure out a way to springboard women in these. This is, make no mistake about it, this is a feminist issue. There's no way in the world a red-blooded male, regardless of race, would stand for any of this stuff. You see what I'm saying? This is feminist at its core. You got men that sit up there, they being pussies about it, but this is a feminist issue at its core. It's being disguised as a American issue when it's not. Exactly. And we know what this is. When you peel back the layers of the onion, we know what time it is.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And but I ain't gonna hold you up, brother. I just want to throw that point in before I called it a night. Okay. And I just want to throw that in there at you, brother.
All right, man. I appreciate that, Charlotte. Man, you had some good stuff that I got to check out, man. You can drop some knowledge on me this evening.
Okay. All right, brother. I'll let you later.
All right. Man, it's a very good point, but it is. And I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Vici, Vici online. So when you say you're thinking about Bill, and that's it. I know we didn't jump to the opposite. I want to address that, before we get ready to wrap it up here shortly. I didn't know he had a passing of a daughter, but so and I go back to that Dave Chappelle joke, and I know a lot of people, look at it. A lot of people were offended by it, but I think about this, because me and my old lady, we talk about things, we have interesting conversations. And you look at Bill. Bill did a lot for a lot of people, did a whole lot for a lot of people. And say he did violate, even though I don't think it was as many as he said. I'm pretty sure that he had some sexual encounters with some of these women. Some of these women were willing to do something. Because trust me, I'm just saying from positions that I've been in back in the day. What you know about that Zachary Construction, East Side. But I'm just thinking about positions that I've been in back in the day. And I can only imagine back when, the drug culture was more prevalent and acceptable back in that day and age or whatever it was. Women like to do drugs. Women like to get fucked up. Like, women like to have sex. But motherfuckers like to get fucked up. Motherfuckers like to have drunk sex. I think the shit is sloppy. I'm not a personal fan of that. But so I'm not saying that all of those were incidents against him. Some of those may have been, one is still one too many. But for all the people that he's helped, say, he's done something, say, that's benefited, and I would say way more because of the people who, grew up on that and the things he's actually done hands on. Say a motherfucker's benefited 100,000 people, right? But he's done irreversible damage to one. But he's changed the lives of 100,000 people, benefited their lives, made them great people, or showed them a different way, improved their livelihood. But he just kind of, I won't even say decimated one, because even the ones they said he did, it's not like they murdered him, not like he crippled them, not like they just didn't get a starring role or something like that. But no, yeah, look, hit that over about 2 times for your boy. We said, I feel like an assassination is more efficient when the target is left alive and discredited. It's more effective to remove any positive motive. Yeah, man, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And it's sad, especially because of his age, and you're watching that slow suffering, and he looks, when you see those jail photos, that he just looks, almost, they made him look weak and pathetic. You know, he's definitely not a terror to anybody at this point. Bill, I don't think Bill's a bad guy. And it could be me having a double standard. I'm pretty sure somebody in Washington says, motherfucker, he's a bunch of rapists. Because to me, it's just too odd. You know, why so long? How was it so many that just not even one had the ability to go out and say something, to go out now all of a sudden, you know, because I won't say he's more powerful now. He's not necessarily was in the limelight as much, but he still had the money. He still had, you know, I'm sure plenty of connections and things like that. Why so long? What was it? Why? What happened that made him so much more accessible now? What was going on that now was the right time to demolish, you know, Bill Cosby? Everybody likes sex. Was he having some extramarital affairs? Was that the thing? No, because everybody's doing that, especially Hollywood. We already know how they getting down out there. It's just, like I say, yeah, it's money. And they said Bill was about to do some big things. You know, he was trying to buy one of these networks here. And I don't think they wanted Bill having that kind of power, because what happens when you control TV? Because I say, this is why I don't watch BET. This is why I don't watch MTV. I don't watch any of these things. BET is supposed to be Black Entertainment Network. It's the worst thing for Black people, in my opinion, because of the programming that they choose to show. I don't know. Maybe it's changing over the over a decade or so since I've watched it. But it used to always be shitty television. It used to always be reinforcing negative stereotypes. There was nothing educational. There was nothing beneficial. You know, it was all about promoting bullshit. And it was funny because I was talking to my old lady today about, you know, the Den. I was telling her about my channel and just kind of some things that I was thinking about. And I was like, man, you know, I really want the Den to grow. I really want to, you know, I really want to figure it out. I really want to, you know, I want to do some stuff with it. But, you know, I can't be a gossip channel. That's not how I get down. I don't give a fuck about shit like that. Like every now and then it may be a story that, you know, I want to address and speak on, but I don't want to be a gossip channel, because if I was to start acting like a shade room or one of these gossipy, this certain, this happened, and let's talk about these entertainers, or like I was talking about academics earlier, or one of these, the shit would blow up, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, it would fucking blow up. Already, that's a bet. It would blow up, you know. If I was sitting here talking gossipy bullshit all day and, you know, on some of the old weirdo shit, we spilling tea and gossiping and shit, you know, this shit would blow up. But that's not, I couldn't be me. I wouldn't be myself, because, you know, one thing, like I said, and it's not necessarily a channel, like I don't want people to think it's just a channel for Black people. It ain't. It's a channel for everybody. Like I said, it's an open conversation. But, you know, like I'm just sitting here thinking about, what do people love? What is it that people want? And I just look at channels that are most popular. If it's a female channel, it's some makeup shit. I ain't giving you no makeup tips. And other than that, if it's some rap shit, you know, it's a bunch of drama, it's a bunch of bullshit. So, you know, niggas love drama, niggas love low class shit. Like, I want to have real conversations. And, you know, we can talk shit. Like, talking shit is just part of the game. That's always enjoyable. But at the same time, you know, you talk shit, but in the context in between having real conversation, addressing real issues, you know, trying to solve some problems, trying to figure some things out. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in on the Den line this evening?
Hey, what's up, Honcho?
Ernest, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What you want to drop in the Den?
Bro, you know I ain't never called 3 times on the show. You know what I'm saying?
It's all good, man.
I just gotta throw that out there, man.
Yeah.
But hey, you touching on something, bro. That's real deep, bro. And the Bill Cosby situation. I'm gonna connect a few dots for you real quick.
All
right, you're absolutely right. Bill was making some major moves. Been doing this for years.
Mm-hmm.
He tried to get in certain industries that's just off limits. It's like trying to own an airline.
Yeah.
That's a no-no. Can't own no airline.
Mm-hmm.
You know, cable networks, like you say, nope. Electrical companies, nope, can't do that. I don't care how much money you got. You know what I'm saying? It ain't for sale. All right, Bill was trying to do this, break down these certain barriers, meaning he was getting out of his place.
Yeah.
So think about this, bro. Before I say what I'm gonna say, all right, bro, we living in the matrix. Whether people realize it or not, we living in the matrix, bro. Some things that seem real ain't real, and you know it's crazy like that. But that's the world we live in. So think about this: Ja Rule with Murder Inc. I mean, not Ja Rule, Murder Inc. and Rap-A-Lot was back in the day. They putting some money together to try to start their own distribution company, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this. And coincidentally, Murder Inc. took the trial. You know, I think they was dealing with some stuff with that drug kingpin up in New York. I forget his name right offhand. And that's, you know, they raided Rap-A-Lot Records. Scarface made a song saying, yeah, we smoke a little weed, but ain't enough to run a drug house. You know what I'm saying? So the point I'm making, bro, they knew, right, that, okay, meaning you can make the music, but where the real money at is in the distribution of the music. And guess what? You can't get it. They not going to let you in that industry. They don't care how much money you got. And clearly, we seen that. And it was something else, bro, that I wanted to throw out there. I ain't slipping my mind right now, man. But when you start looking at certain things, bro, and you start to, like, people lose, bro, I'm going to say people lose sight, but I'm going to be real. A lot of people just don't know. And not only don't they know, they don't want to know, bro. And I come to that realization, and it's all good, you know, but people drink the Kool-Aid way too much. And what I mean by that, if you know, like, at the essence that this is how it is, you know, okay, I'm going to give you a quote from Malcolm X. You know, it's a true quote. Yeah. He said, you cannot integrate into a system that is corrupt. It is not you who would change the system. It is the system that will eventually corrupt you, right? So you look at this, they had a shooting, and a black cop, I want to say Baltimore, I could be wrong, a black cop ended up killing a white woman, unarmed white woman. They charged him with intentional murder. The irony of that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then they had a situation back in Ferguson in 2017 where they had an undercover cop who was posing as a protester, but he was an undercover cop. Well, some cops in Ferguson roughed him up, bro. I mean, beat him up bad. Then they end up charging those cops for beating up the undercover cop, who they didn't know was undercover, but the fraternal order of the police is backing those 4 cops that beat up the undercover cop. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, bro, when you think about certain things like this, I'm gonna say it is what it is. Like, but bro, something ain't adding up, you know. And I just wish more people would just take the time to open their minds, like, because conditioning is real for all of us. But at a certain point, you got to call a spade and realize that it's always been a double standard. It's gonna always be a double standard. And this is the last thing I'm gonna say. I remember my point. The society we live in don't mind minorities, in particular blacks, but minorities in general, accomplishing as much as they can accomplish individually. No problem.
Yeah.
It's collectively when you come together and you organize your wealth for the benefit of that group, that's when you're going to see a problem. And I'm going to tell you a prime example of what I'm saying. Back in the days when the Black Panthers formed because of police brutality, right? They came up against the Panthers with all their might, and all they was doing was just trying to protect the community, feed the children, make sure they had food to eat before they went to school. But they had another group on the opposite end of the spectrum called the Ku Klux Klan, who was lynching people, murdering people, burning crosses in your yard, and they never did anything to this group who was really terrorizing people. That's just something to think about. But that's what I got, bro. I'm gonna hang up and listen.
Man, you on fire on that one, man. You on fire on that one. And that's true. And that's what I'm saying. And, you know, like I say, I'll sit here and we'll talk about a lot of issues. And I say, you know, I ain't going to buy into all everything, but I'm going to tell you what's real and what is really real. And that's true. That's absolutely true what he just said, man. And that's what people got to understand. Like I say, I'm not going to buy into every, oh, this is racist, that's racist. Because there'd be certain situations that don't be. But what Ernest is talking about is legit. And it's true. And, you know, kind of expanding on that, we were talking about Bill Cosby and and I want to make sure I'm saying it, Vici, online, when you're talking about this word via the Fat Albert cartoon, when everyone's slinging mud, everybody loses ground. That's deep right there. And that's why I say I don't care for politicians, because all the motherfuckers do is sling mud. Tell me how you really gonna fix some shit instead of just insulting this other motherfucker saying what he can't do when you ain't never done shit. But and that's true. Why are you worried about this small minority group who is really just kind of taking care of their own in their own little neighborhoods, but you got motherfuckers coming across the tracks and across the way and truly terrorizing. I mean, you can go back to what is that in Tulsa, but Black Wall Street. And what happened with there was real terrorism. Like, these people got their houses and their streets bombed. This was homegrown terrorism. They got bombed, and then they were put in camps. They were locked up. Like, it wasn't the people who was doing the shit. They were trying to escape. They were trying to get out, and they was arresting them. And so a lot of them had to escape all the other places. And that's why I say, and that was a community that was building. I'm not gonna get too deep into it, because this go take the deal a little bit further. We're gonna have a real conversation coming up real soon though about that, because it's a conversation that could go on for quite some time. And that's why I say, but part of that comes with, especially like if we're talking about minorities, and I think most other cultures, Hispanics, to me, they do very well with each other. Asians do extremely well with each other. The Indians or East, whatever you want to call them, and no offense with whatever you want, but they do very well with each other. But when it comes to black people, we have a problem with each other, because we have no sense of status, hierarchy. Everybody wants to be the man, and motherfuckers be wanting to be the man just because. Sometimes you got to be willing to listen and understand, or we get mad because such and such got a little bit more than we do, or instead of falling in line, we want everything to be get rich quick, or we feel like we owe some shit from way back when. But my thing is, it's going to start with a change of culture and the things that we celebrate, the things that we gravitate towards. And that's where it starts off first. But, and that's why, I know people saying Kanye was crazy. But the one thing that he said that stuck out to me was when he was talking about when you ain't got no land, you'll substitute a brand. And so motherfuckers are more caring about having some kind of brand name something than really having their name on some land or actually owning some shit. And there's a sense of feeling when you actually own things, because think about how excited niggas are when they own a car, and get to fix it up a little bit, throw some rims on it, do some stuff like that. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's a sense of pride that goes with that. You don't think that same sense of pride comes with owning a land, owning a home, being able to say, hey, this is me right here. And it's something that you can pass down to generation, things like that. But like I said, it'll be a whole nother conversation. That'll start a whole nother. We went from gender equality to something else. But I kind of wanted to go back to part about the point that goes to, and that's what's up, Shaolin. Like I said, look, I'm trying to get there. Look, I'm trying to clean up some of my old mistakes, and move forward with a few things, and that's the goal ultimately. Like I say, it's when you think as a child, you act as a child. When you grow, you learn. You got to make plans to be the man. But the thing about it though is ultimately this though, is when we're talking about the bill thing, and I was talking about MTV, and I kind of went on a tangent about MTV, BET, and all that other stuff. We know what kind of guy Bill was. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you want to do it, some land, get up out the way. Cause I'd like to have some land. I'd like to do some growing, some farming, get away from all the modern amenities from time to time. Just get back to the land. But we know what Bill was. Bill was a stand-up dude for the most part, as far as we knew, regardless of what he was doing behind the scenes, and he wasn't promoting that. I think he had the betterment in mind. And I think that I have some other thoughts about if that whole situation. We may talk about Bill one day soon, a little bit more in depth. But if Bill owned a network, what was going to happen? It was going to be quality, healthy programming. You could definitely expect it to be a lot of quality black programming. You can talk about, well, Oprah got it, but Oprah's shit promotes feminism. Oprah's shit is promoting, the woman. And I'm not saying, boo on Oprah, whatever she did, what she did. But again, Oprah got, she has her limits too. You realize that you got enough money to do a lot of things. When you wonder why some of these celebrities don't do these things, there's always a reason behind that. But the deal with Bill is, because we talked about it, when you watch the Cosby Show, when you watch The Different World, when you saw those shows and the impact that they had on black culture. If Bill would have had a channel, trust me, it would have definitely changed the game and would have had an impact. And things would have started being different. You would have started seeing some different presentation to a lot of stuff. Because I don't know if y'all ever seen, you know, a lot of people say, oh, Bill, he, you know, like, and this is what used to kill me because, you know, he used to talk about, you know, about us, you know, cleaning up our act and, you know, and you know, with you know, the way we dressed and the things we did. A lot of people didn't like it. Oh, Bill being Uncle Tom, Bill being this, Bill being that. You know, Bill was legit. Bill was, you know, made some real moves from doing the right things. But he had this little series, and it was called Black History, Lost, Stolen, or fuck, I forgot what it's called, like Lost, Stolen, or Altered, or something like that. I mean, it's on fucking YouTube somewhere. And I used to have like a little DVD of it with a couple of little things of it. But he goes on that, and he talks about a lot of stuff that a lot of well-known, well, probably not well-known, but he talks about a lot of things in Black history that, you know, people never spoke of. And if you ever get a chance to check that shit out, he talked about, it was a fucking, I can't think of the names right now. It was a black cowboy that was on there. He was one of the best bounty hunters in all the land. And who was one of these famous characters. I want to say the Lone Ranger was actually based off of this dude, but you know, they changed it up. And then you seen it? It was like Black History Lost, Stolen, or something. I can't think of what the last word was, but it was a good little series. But again, like I say, when you find stuff and it ain't just about, you know, cool. What Martin did was cool, but we heard what Martin said, or we know what Martin said when it was all said and done. But when you see other stuff, it's not always about the blacks who tried to integrate into society. It ain't always just, well, their great accomplishment was trying to integrate. Their great accomplishment was trying to desegregate. Well, I want to know about blacks who did great accomplishments on their own and things of that nature too. You know, that's what I want to see. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with Martin. I'm not saying anything wrong with Rosa. All that stuff is cool, but there's a lot of other stories, thousands of other stories out there that you never get told, you know, but you got to go out and seek them because people don't want you to know that shit. But, and that's what kills me too. Malcolm X was right. And what a lot of people don't realize, it kills me too, because, you know, blacks are so overwhelmingly liberal for the most part and don't realize a lot of the stuff that Malcolm X said. Niggas be walking around with some Malcolm X shirts and then going and voting for Clinton and shit. You know what I'm saying? They'll be fucking, you know, and that's why they say I kind of relate, you know, because like I say, Malcolm didn't start off A1, you know, he was doing his thing. But then when he came to a realization and a real understanding, you know, he got it right. And I think that's what niggas got to realize. We sit here and we holler, you know, exactly, he was conservative. And that's what people don't realize. They think, you know, I don't know, rebel or renegade or whatever the fuck it was. But again, that's why I say the message gets construed. But like I say, let me jot down a couple of things here, because these would be some good topics to discuss. But jot that down too. We went across the spectrum here today. We talked about a lot of good stuff, man. And so we need to keep this conversation going. So we'll probably do some Den tomorrow. The rainbow. We went across the rainbow, the reading rainbow. Take a look. It's in a book. It's reading rainbow. But with that being said, hey man, I appreciate all of y'all. I appreciate yeah man, I gotta get back with man. It's because, you know, I know the last few weekends I just been all over the place. Like I said, just been a lot of stuff in the background that I've been working on. And Elijah, man, look, that was the thing. Like I'm telling you that when he was out there exposing Elijah Muhammad for sleeping with them young girls and shit. So here's the deal, you know. But yeah, we get ready to wrap it up. We ain't quite 2 hours, but hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. But cause I gotta get a little rest. Gotta get it back early in the morning and get it back on it. I just want to say I appreciate y'all, man. You know, and again, everybody, like I say, it ain't no particular thing, but I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. You know, if it's issues that I deal with that I relate to, that we go talk about it. You know, but like I say, it's open for everybody, so I don't want anybody to feel excluded. Well, they're over there talking about those black issues, and Well, I'm not part of it. They said I was invited to the cookout, but I don't know if I'm in there for this, but I'm fucking with y'all. But hey, here's the deal, man. Y'all all good in my book. I appreciate every last one of y'all, man. Again, from supporting from the sauce to the den to whenever we ever do a mix again, who knows? But just the fact that y'all fucking with your boy, man, I fucks with y'all and I thank y'all. And again, just as much as I hope y'all enjoy it as much as I enjoy it. I appreciate everybody who called in. I appreciate everybody who held it down. I appreciate everybody. Like I say, some very good calls. I'm gonna chop some of these calls up. Post a couple of them up on the IG page and the Facebook group. And again, if y'all need to check out the socials, follow Den so y'all can kind of keep updated. Because I know that fucking YouTube don't always send out the notification. So that's where y'all can find all the Den show links and things like that. But I appreciate y'all, man. So thank you very much. With that being said, I'm out. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Until next time.